There we go.
Okay, this is the fetal pig lab dissection. This goes with our body systems unit and also with our vertebrate animals unit. A pig is a vertebrate animal and it is a mammal. Characteristics of a mammal: it's endothermic and it gives milk to its young by mammary glands, and it has a 4-chambered heart, and it has hair or fur. So the first body system that we are looking at is the digestive system. And the digestive system is in the abdominal cavity, which is right here. This right here, this muscle that was opened up, is the diaphragm. And the diaphragm is a thin sheet of muscle. It divides the thoracic cavity, which is the chest, from the abdominal cavity here. And the diaphragm aids in breathing. We'll talk about that when we get to the respiratory system. The largest organ in the body, which you can see right here, is the liver. And the liver is an accessory organ of the digestive system. It makes bile, which is a substance that breaks down fat. It emulsifies fat so that it can be digested fully. Up underneath the right lobe of the liver is the gallbladder, there. And the gallbladder stores that bile produced by the liver and concentrates it. And when you eat something that you need the bile, it goes through this bile duct and it goes into the very first part of the small intestine called the duodenum. And that's where fats are emulsified, is in the very first part of the small intestine. Also in the abdomen is the stomach, and here's the stomach. The stomach is under basically the left lobe of the liver. Remember that you have to be the pig, so your right is the pig's left. So this is the stomach, and the stomach is a big muscular bag, and it accepts the food and it churns the food and adds chemicals to the food to do chemical and mechanical digestion of the food. When the food leaves the stomach, it goes to the small intestine. The small intestine has 3 main sections. The first is the duodenum, the second one is the jejunum, and the third one is the ileum. And you can see that the small intestines is actually quite long. If you were to take this out and uncoil it, which the lab says you can do towards the end of the lab, it's 6 feet long in this pig. It's held together by this webbing that's called mesentery. And if you follow the small intestine along, you get to the large intestines, or also known as the colon, and that absorbs excess water and solidifies waste. And if you follow that out, that is the rectum, and that is what stores the fecal matter or the solid waste until you eliminate it from your body. Some other accessory organs of digestion, right there is the pancreas. And the pancreas makes pancreatic juices that are also put into the small intestine for digestion. The small intestine, I should mention, is lined with tiny finger-like projections called villi, and they increase surface area. Instead of being flat, it makes the inside be these tiny microscopic fingers, and in the fingers are your capillaries, and that increases surface area so you absorb more nutrients from the food that you eat. And so that's the digestive system. This right here in the abdomen, I think it looks like a flattened pinky. This is the spleen, and the spleen removes your worn out red blood cells from your body. Okay, also in the abdomen, let's move on to the excretory system. In the lower back on both the right and the left side, these lumps right here are kidneys. And kidneys remove the nitrogen waste from the blood from your cell's metabolism, and they mix it with salts, and it's urea and salt and some water, and they turn it into urine, and then it travels down a tube. It's really hard to see. There's a tube that comes down, and that tube, it's right there. That tube is called the ureter, and then it carries it to the bladder. And this right here, right there, is the urinary bladder, and it's a muscular sac that stores the urine until it can be released from the body. And then when we have to go to the bathroom, then we release it and it goes out the urethra. This is a girl pig, and so the urethra would actually open up back here. That's the rectum. I mean, that's the anus, which leads to the digestive tract. And then right here is an opening that is to the vagina and also to the urethra for the exit of the urine. Okay, reproductive. In the little girl, we have ovaries. There's an ovary there. There's an ovary there on either side. The ruffles are the fallopian tubes. So the egg is released by the ovary, travels down the fallopian tubes, and then where the two fallopian tubes meet, where the tip of my finger is, would be the uterus, and that's where the baby would develop. Okay, so that's reproductive in a female. You'll have to look at the reproductive of a male on the virtual side I gave you. Okay, moving to the thoracic cavity, we have the heart and the lungs. Up in here, this large area, the swollen hard area in the pig's throat, that is the larynx, which is the voice box. And if you follow that tube down, that right there, that has the rings of cartilage for support, that's your windpipe, which is the trachea. The trachea then divides into bronchi, and it goes into the right lung and the left lung. And the lungs, that is where carbon dioxide is removed and oxygen is replenished into the blood, is from these spongy, soft lungs. And then finally, this is the heart. A mammalian heart, as I mentioned, has 4 chambers. It has the 2 top chambers are the atria, which receive blood into the heart, and 2 bottom chambers, which are ventricles that pump blood out of the heart. Notice they are much thicker walled than the atria. The heart also has a set of vessels that sit on top of it, and they nourish the heart itself with a rich supply of oxygen at all times, because it can't wait for the blood to be oxygenated. It's got to have oxygen and nutrients at all times. So it has its own circulatory system. And I guess that does it for the fetal pig.